325 XI. Rust. Crunchy. Remember a couple weeks ago I crawled underneath this thing with the garden hose and I sprayed and sprayed and sprayed and sprayed and sprayed and rinsed and rinsed and rinsed? Remember what I told you, that once there's salt in the metal you can't get rid of it? Well, there it is right there. I tasted it, still salty. Once you get salt in metal, it ain't coming off. You can rinse it all you want, it ain't happening. But the reason I came here today wasn't to look at my suspension members to see if they're still attached to the body or the frame. Was because somebody that watches my videos was nice enough, tell me my badge is junk, was nice enough to tell me that since he works at a BMW dealership, he could give me some tips on how to maintain my BMW, how to tell if things are no good. He told me the Vanos. What's a Vanos? V-A-N-O-S? Vanos? Variable valve timing. He told me the Vanoses go bad, as I know from the internet. There's a guy that rebuilds them, Dr. Vanos, V-A-N-O-S. It's inside here, it's got all kinds of cylinders and tubes and seals and all kinds of crap. Big job. Oil supply line, maybe that's a vapor line, I don't know, but there's an oil supply line that leaks and cracks. And they just put brand new Vanoses on when they have to be rebuilt. Instead of rebuilding them, they just throw them in the garbage into the aluminum scrap pile. It's quite the job. They take off all these covers. All that stuff has to come off to get to the variable valve timing controllers. Sounds like a day job to me. There's a cam timer right there. Looks like an oil line. Anyhow, there's an issue. This car has a slightly leaking water pump. Just a little leak. There's just a drop of antifreeze every so often. So it needs a water pump. But the guys on the forums say that once you're putting a new water pump on, you should change the radiators because the plastic gets tired and they split. As well, the expansion tanks split. So I'm thinking, well, the expansion tank must be just like this windshield washer container, but where's the expansion tank? It's right beside the radiator, tucked in over there, right there. So how do you know if your expansion tank is cracked? They're $50 for a new one. Well, the fellow from the BMW dealership said, look at the float. And now I forget what he told me, but if the float is dark red, it means it's in good shape. And if it's pink or faded, it's fatigued. So there's my float right there, and it looks like it's dark red. And that's my overflow tank float. So maybe my overflow tank has some life left in it. Because I don't know if I'm going to keep this car. Yeah, I could put all new parts on, put a new Vanos on, that's $250. The job is a whole day job. Put a new radiator in, a new water pump, and new rear shocks, or maybe I could just get by with the minimum, like just a water pump, maybe just the overflow tank if mine might be good. I ordered a pressure tester from Amazon. And what it is, I've got a radiator pressure tester that I bought a million years ago. And this uses a special cap, so I've got an adapter I bought for $54 from Amazon with free shipping, and then I can put my tester on and I can pump this thing up to 15 pounds, and I think BMW runs at 20 pounds. Some people recommend putting a lower pressure cap on from a different earlier series. Yep, 200 or 20.0. Anyhow, someone recommended putting a lower pressure cap on. These engines do run hot. So I can test this and put a little extra pressure and see if these plastic elbows or the radiator or the heater hoses are leaking. Because I don't know if I want to put all new parts on, because I might be replacing this with a 5-speed rust-free from the West Coast. And I found one, but it's not what I want. It's close, but it ain't what I want. All kinds of parts. There's the starter, I think, down there, and there's the F connector, and there's the intake tube that splits underneath, and I just checked my air filter, and it's a genuine BMW air filter with a foam pad. What I found on the internet, I punched it into thingweb.com, Thingweb, Thingweb, and I put in 5-speed BMW 325 XI wagon. There's one for sale in Dallas, but it's not what I want. The guy advertised it in Fargo, North Dakota Craigslist. He said, who in Texas wants an all-wheel drive BMW? Nobody. So how am I going to sell my baby? Says the old lady doesn't like it. She used to drive a stick, but not anymore. So I sent him a message, but it's silver with a silver interior, and I don't want a silver car. I want a black one or maybe a slate blue one. I don't want a white one, I don't want a red one, I don't want a silver one, maybe slate blue, but I really want a black with black leather, which you would never find in Texas, because who buys a black car in Texas? There was one for sale in El Paso on the border, but the guy was a nutcase. I spoke to him on the phone, we texted, he just had it advertised for months. He just wasn't normal. Black Sport Edition with the 17-inch wheels and the bolster seats. 5-speed. So this one for sale in Fargo, which is actually in Dallas, has a 5-speed with 200 and change thousand miles, and the guy wants 4,200 firm, and I said it's worth 3,200. How am I going to fix that? The dog was nibbling on that. Needs some material wrapped around, just a little patch job, because it's the headliner. I'm not changing the whole headliner just for that. And why doesn't my sunroof work? Don't know. Wonder where the motor is. Buried somewhere. Maybe it's in there. So that's the deal on this thing. I'm not buying the one in Dallas because I don't want a silver car with a silver interior. I want a black one, or maybe a slate blue like the one I saw for sale in San Diego that I almost bought. 234,000 miles. Almost 400,000 kilometers, but we came to a disagreement. We came to an agreement, and the guy sold it the next day. It was for sale for months. Couldn't sell it. Who wants a 5-speed Beamer with high miles, an XI? Then I made a deal, went to the bank, sold. Oh well. Could have had a San Diego road trip sitting there rusting away. And this thing is going to be going on a road trip in exactly 1 month. I'm going to be in Michigan July 16th, less than a month. So I better change the antifreeze in this thing. And get some spare keys for that thing. Get this thing ready to go, ready to rock and roll. I got to cut the grass too. Zoom, zoom. Oh, and I bumped into the guy with the property that we sold, and we shook hands and kissed and made up. So we had a good conversation. He told me why he didn't want me to cut that 50 feet of grass above his house, because he's going to be planting some wildflowers here. He wanted me to go on the other side. No problemo, I said. I really apologize for not having that piece of junk out of your garage last September. And I think things are looking a little better. I'm going to take these with. Lots of earphones. Alrighty. Now you know everything. I'm going to show you what's happening with the chimney. Masons are here.